Not like I could actually die, though. Oh, wow. This is so fun. Seriously, what's going on in that head of yours? It would be bad if they heard us, so shh. Shh. Good girl. And a bit bad. Wow, you learned fast. Basically, I just bungee jumped backwards the moment Chiemi fired. The rope couldn't be too long because we could end up hitting the cliff, so it was only about 10 meters long, but it was bungee jumping nonetheless. That feels a little bit. It feels like a little bit of a stretch. You said he jumped the moment Chiemi fired? I mean, the amount of time it takes for a bullet to hit him after it's been fired, or even the moment it's been fired, is about, like... Okay, let's be very generous. Like, this is already vastly overestimating it, but like 0.1 seconds. For him to jump backwards off of a cliff, gonna take at least 2 seconds. That is if he hits the timing correctly. So I think this is quite nonsensical, and the only way that makes sense is if Chiemi missed. And I don't know if that's what they're trying to say here, that, you know, she missed on purpose. But yeah, I hope that's what they're trying to say, because that's the only way it makes sense. But I feel like in that case, I don't know if it was... Well, whatever. We'll keep reading. I'd prepared the rope during the little time I had after getting the mask. I only had one shot at this, and it actually worked out. With this, God was dead. Great Lord Shinai, Yomatsu Okami, the two-faced god of fear and oppression, was killed by a fitting stage and a decent plot. He spoke his last words for each of the weak, yet good people of Yasumizu. He understood them well and encouraged them to follow a different path. Then he reconciled with the true god, the one given the dirty name of Badger, and passed on the rites. They no longer had a reason to fear the mist, blindly follow the fake laws of the mountain, or kill each other because of some legends. They would never hold the Feast of the Yomi Purge again. So, Mission 1, stopping the people of Yasumizu from killing each other in the feast, had been completed. Even Chiemi, who was so afraid of Great Lord Shinai and God, had literally defeated the source of her fear. I could only hope it fixed her murderous side too. Anyway, the sun had sunk. We had to move before it was completely dark. I switched to the other rope I had here and went down to Saranaga. Alright, we'd made it down, but what was I to do with Meiko? Considering the story I made up, I couldn't bring her with me. Alright, I just make her wait. Meiko, can you wait for me behind this rock? Yeah, how long? 2 or 3 hours. You can sleep if you want, but if someone comes, don't come out. Okay, but I'm hungry. You can eat anything in that bag there. There's still lots of sweets there. You can't eat them all normally, but I'll let you do it this time. Ah, hey. She ran off. And I turned around. Here. Man, this mist's crazy. Can't see anything 10 steps ahead. Sheep. You said the act's over, didn't you? Yeah, sorry for the wait, Mitsuji. The hell were you trying with the act anyway? Well, I thought you missed your ex and tried to chase after me in a weird way, so I figured I'd just ignore you. No point in asking, huh? That's just the kind of guy you are, Haraki. So you're as good as your word, huh? I'm saying it's a waste of effort. Behind her, there were 3 rubber boats with oars. So, what's next? A group acting all dazed is gonna come here soon. Tell them something godlike and keep them safe in some lodging place. The latter part's fine, but what's with the former? Just play along with their superstitions. You know a thing or two about what kind of place this is, right? Yeah, what a pain. Just so you know, you shouldn't act like you did as a convenience store worker. I was only like that because of you. Not even I'm that unreasonable. So some kinky stuff, eh? I'll fucking kill you. I can ask you about your powers, background, and the organization backing you, yeah? Well, we're never meeting each other again, so there's no point, really. That's what you said the first time we broke up, yet here we are. What was that anyway? An accident? Yep, is what I'd like to say, but there's a bond between us and all that. You being serious? Yeah, that's how the world is. There's nothing more reliable than a serious Mitsuji. I'll believe you. And nothing's more unreliable than a serious-looking you. We laughed. Anyway, let's get serious. I'll be caught by the Loop's master soon. You were still bearing it? What the hell? Of course I am. I'm working hard to buy you time. I see. So that's why nothing happened. Thanks, you helped out a lot. Guess I have all the more reason to hurry. Well, do be careful. It feels all you do recently is send me to my death. Death? Well, you helped me out just now, so I hope that doesn't change. Just go back already. I ain't gonna welcome you, but if you die, I'll have trouble sleeping. Roger that. I'll try to survive. No, think about it. Your death means game over for all of us, so I really don't need you to say anything. That's mean. Oh well, I'll just go. You killed a god first, huh? Yep, now I'll be doing your job. I'll take on the Master of the Loop. Mission 2. I had to deal with the Master of the Loop who wanted the monster's resurrection. This one didn't need as much preparation or acting skill as the first one. All the info I'd gathered over the loops was enough to make me certain by now. I just had to face the person one-on-one and be completely honest. That was easy. But the person was the problem. I'd probably be walking on a fine line here. I had no idea how well my thoroughness, guts, and verbosity would hold up against the enemies. And once the final mystery was revealed, I wasn't sure I'd have what it took to properly retaliate. It was something I'd have to consider at that moment. I had to do it. I'm counting on you, Hariaki. I got up on the cliff again and hid near the graveyard. The mist was dense and I couldn't see much, but I was used to it, so straining my eyes helped a lot. I soon saw the people of Yasumizu absent-mindedly make their way down Saranaga. Everyone besides the old wolf guy was there. Good. After confirming that, I went to the plaza. Ah. He was standing alone in there. You didn't run or go wild? I'm impressed. Ah. It's fine, drop the act. It's your job, isn't it? Taking care of such escapees, I mean. Wanted to talk to you. Please stop the act, it'll make things easier. The hell are you? I can tell you're like me, but it doesn't make sense to think you're with the Miguruma. However, he was putting his hand into his clothes to take out a weapon, surely. Unfortunately for him, I already knew his cards. You destroyed my fortress. I'll get even by killing you. I'm your disciple. Huh? Well, I won't get into the details, but basically, without you, I couldn't have saved them. I'm saying I'll let you live because of that, you old fart. His eyes were filled with a silent anger. Well, the police probably won't know what to think about an incident from 60 years ago. And if you have a change of heart and decide to protect Yasumizu, there's really no problem in letting you live. Don't act big with me. The Miguruma will start to crumble. Huh? Nothing will happen today or in any other mist appearance that follows. That means there might be something good in store for this place. Your job and hideout will be gone. They'll find out about the waterway. And the people of Yasumizu won't ever see you as just senile. What proof, dear? You didn't realize? There were 2 people with guns back there. The one who's not Chiemi was aiming at you all this time so that they could kill you from up close. You're old. You can only kill people in the mist while wearing a wolf outfit and using the authority of God. If you charge at me, I can easily dodge, get you on the ground, step on you, and kill you. You can only beat me with a surprise attack or by spiking my drink with a numbing drug. But you can't do that now. Even if you stay here, the locals will be wary of you. This is no longer your fortress. Now you either have to bow to them and have them protect you until you die, or call your Tokyo contact and go elsewhere. One of the two. This sure got boring. You had plenty of fun, didn't you? No, I'll have a bit more. He... Dodge this, young'un. He raised his blade, took an unexpectedly fast step towards me, then tripped. I told you. Oh boy. His dagger went through his mouth and into his brain. If Heaven's judgment is slow but sure, then I wanted him to die more painfully. This death doesn't suit a villain, like... Huh? The grass is tied. Whose prank is this? Whoever it was, they have my thanks. I don't want him to feel guilty, though, so I'll undo it. Anyway, I was satisfied with the result. I thought about this and that, but as long as he was alive, he'd have always been a danger to someone's life. That was all he'd done his whole life, and it was best to accept his death for what it was. Leaving his corpse, I went off where I had to. Of course, he wasn't the one in charge of the dream, so he wasn't my real target. Extra mission: get rid of the latent threats the violent old man completed. Mission 2, dealing with the Master of the Loop who wanted the monster's resurrection, would begin now. Not in the dining hall or back home, huh? Then maybe here? The culprit's plans must have changed badly because of Mitsuji's hard work. Good evening, Rikako. She was right there. Who are you? No need for that. You know everything, don't you? Haruaki Fusaishi. I have been waiting. The two acquaintances who'd never met exchanged a greeting. It was a very normal greeting, but that was what made it warped and strange. What an honor. But I did not want this. I wanted us to play within the dream. I bought the sheep. No need to worry. I simply took her ability to influence dreams. That is all. Within the raising loop, she will become nothing but a powerless observer. You're not denying it? That you're behind everything? I just said I did not want this, but I am unexpectedly happy about this. Haruaki, you know me so well and spent so many nights and lives just to get here. I had never expected for this eternal feast to bring me something like this. Thus, I wish to ask you, Haruaki, how did you find out that I pull all the strings? Huh? Well, I mean, you weren't there when everyone came. Huh? Is that it? No, not really. Please, tell me, how did you discover me? Ah, she'd gone back to the heart of the matter. She'd probably punch me if I'd said something like, "You're a spider, of course you're pulling the strings." I'd take it seriously. Of course, there were things I didn't understand. Or more like I understood because I didn't understand them. That was kinda complex. It was the spider. The Uematsu guardian and symbol, the spider. Japan had no faiths that revered them. The other guardians had archetypes that were clearly related to mountain religions, even the wolves. The spider, however, wasn't. The Shinai faith was a religion created to control. Thus, there was no reason for it to include anything without a clear origin. In fact, it was completely unlikely that a family of prostitutes would use the Jorogumo, a term for orb weavers, as their messenger. After all, that was a yokai, not a god. Though the difference between them was minimal, but gods still needed to gather faith. In other words, Jorogumo, Ogumo, and all that were just anomalies. Strange incidences that could appear anywhere. Unless they garnered faith from the locals for many years, were accepted, and could live beyond just words, they weren't gods. However, the Uematsu actually had no divine authority, despite controlling the most mystical section of the Shinai faith. This was strange. Of course, the Uematsu had a weakness in that people looked down on them because of their nature. However, the amount of suspicion, cruelty, and harshness directed at you was just unnatural. And that was despite being a good person most of the time, unlike Kionosuke. I wondered why. Uematsu had divinity in the Shinai faith too. That was when the spider archetype came to mind and turned my question into suspicion. Uematsu, the spider, might have been some sort of an exception in the Shinai faith, an unnatural entity. It seemed to me that the spider's god could be an outsider that didn't fit in with the mountain faith. The ritual to take in the corruption could have easily been the secret centerpiece behind the whole faith, no? It was a miracle that could cure everything after all. It was something that any new religion would kill to have. Imagine all the adherents they could gain. And if it was the real deal, any cult or dogma with weird origins would forcefully add it into their teachings. That wouldn't have been weird, right? The historical documents proved that many outsiders had come to help create the Shinai faith. Some might have been people from some shrines that wanted to take the snake, monkey, or crow for themselves. Then they also might have given themselves authority by putting their symbols in their teachings. The current village heads might have been the descendants of such people, though that could have been a stretch. Now, who was to say that the Uematsu ancestors didn't enter the settlement during this time and ram their symbol into the religion? Heretics who believed in a warped god. It was included in the religion, but only on a surface level. The truth behind it had been hidden by the Uematsu and wasn't included. That made everyone here unconsciously feel that there was something unnatural, something wrong about them. Thus, they were looked at with scorn, and that was probably why they could take the disorderly profession of prostitution as their family trade. Though that was just an assumption. You could tell me if I was wrong later. Next, it was time for doubts about her as a person. I'd experienced the looping phenomenon. At first I'd thought it was something that happened once I died, but then I'd realized that wasn't right. I'd keep my basis a secret, but I'd realized a few things once I'd thought about the loops that had happened without my death. For example, there were loops that happened without me having any memory of dying. I'd underestimated it, thinking that it was only because some memories, especially ones of your death, weren't saved properly. However, there were definitely loops that happened without me ever dying. It was just a general image of the loop that gave me the idea that the mist, death, and rebirth were linked, making me assume that I must have died. When I'd thought of it like that, I started thinking that the loop happened not with my death, but with the dream's master. That was the opposite of how it usually was in such scenarios. Normally the master's death meant the end of the loop, but most people had died many times within all this looping. Looking at it that way, the loop should have stopped a long time ago. The master should have died, yet the loop didn't end. Thus I began believing that the death of its master activated the loop. That would make sense. After all, they could try it again if they messed up. They could instantly take full advantage of the looping, as I'd first thought I had. Of course, it was possible that the culprit was in a safe spot far away, like Kamifujiyoshi or just the mountains. That would make them impossible to reach, but they could reach this place all they wanted. Of course, the Miguruma observed Yasumizu from a distance, so they could have done that easily. However, there was something strange. I'd seen so many deaths, but there was one person whose corpse I'd never seen. It was Meiko. No matter the route, I hadn't said seen. Okay, I think that's just a mistake there. I hadn't seen her final moments. That is true, actually. That made her really shady. She'd seen that ending once, though, so I figured it wasn't her. She didn't know of the conspiracy. But there was someone else who seemed shady. It was you, Rikaku Uematsu. I'd only seen your corpse once. Yeah, I was gonna mention that. We have seen her corpse. When it was supposedly all over, but you were hanged in the hall. I'd looped soon after. Well, I tried killing myself then, but looking back at it, the mists were already there before I fell. The looping was strangely linked to the mist. For all I knew, I might have looped without actually dying. Besides that, I'd never seen any of your corpses. You were the only one who'd left the game in unusual ways. The chief example of that was the Yomibito transformation. You'd gone insane and been locked in. But you'd stayed alive to be alive, right? Even if your madness was real, it should have been possible for you to survive inside your house for a few days. If that was just some sort of act, you could have drank some water or hidden some food for yourself to survive. Well, I didn't think it was a complete act, but even so, your actions were strange. The reality that you took in the corruption of the feast actually made my suspicions for you all the more certain. The Yomibito transformation was just you taking Chimi Serizawa's murder penalty for her, right? That had to have been impossible. After all, the Feast of the Yomi Purge was an artificial killing spree run by the Miguruma. It wasn't something that could be cured by your ability. However, if there was someone who knew about the cameras, the Eye of Miguruma, and was capable of asking for something like that, someone who could bend the rules like that without undermining the Shinai faith, the Miguruma would readily accept their wish to die instead of the actual rule breaker. There had also been one time you told me to run. Had you expected for your desire to succeed for the same reasons? While thinking that you looked a bit shady, I'd found even more proof of that. If the culprits were really the Miguruma, like I'd said before, they were surely observing this moment too. They could use their safe position to easily press their loot button or something. I'd considered that the culprit had watched it all from the mountain with clairvoyance or something, then reset everything at certain times. But the culprit seemed too naive for that. Anyone who watched enough would easily understand that I'd kept my memories. They would recognize me as dangerous and take care of me. That meant that the culprit had to have the perception of the normal human. Thus, to make something happen in Yasumizu, it had to be someone in Yasumizu. You being the culprit would also explain why you'd prepared Meiko a separate place. After all, you knew that the mist was coming. And lastly, you'd said this. Even if we don't meet again tomorrow, let us meet again in a different life. Hopefully a more peaceful one. That wasn't right, was it? The Shinai faith either denied or forbid resurrection. That was why they said rise not. It was forbidden for something to go to Yomi then come back. Someone who could say that was either part of a different faith or knew about the loops. I turned out to be right on that. One more thing. I do not know what started it, but after seeing you through the shadow of the leaves that day. This was a mistake that I'd made several times myself. You'd said something based on memories of an event from a previous loop. I did think you were extremely careful in that regard, but you weren't above slipping up. You'd said those words in the timeline where I'd moved to Yasumizu. When we'd first seen each other then, you were behind a rock, one of the Okiba at the entrance to Yasumizu, not behind some leaves. And, well, that was the day after I'd crashed and ended up in Chiyomi's room. Our very first meeting, right? You also had memories of the loops. From your perspective, did you have any other reason to hide that besides the fact that you were the one behind all this? Is that all? Yes, not enough? No, more than enough. Up until you arrived here, I was very confused about what was happening. The start of the dream, which I had shifted twice, had been returned twice without my permission, and I desperately wanted to fix that. In fact, I did not know the reason why, or have certainty that you and Serizawa had been changing the dream. Though I did consider the possibility when you said that you had already tried it. I knew I shouldn't have said that lightly. If it was true, and you somehow retained your memories, I would have been really happy. We would repeat the feast while we continued to gain new memories. Women like that kind of stuff, huh? We are creatures that can only die for love, especially us, the Uematsu. They sold love and lived by feeding off of it. That didn't make sense. It's strange to hear you speak of love. Why? Your god is one of grudges. You know that much? By a process of elimination, yeah. It created so many miracles, yet its divinity went unrecognized because it was wretched. The spider god is forgotten. The Uematsu are the Tsuchigumo. You are a descendant of the indigenous people of Ashihara Nona Katsukuni, who were destroyed by the ancestors of this country, the Amatsukami lineage. Its symbol is an ancient original sin. The guilt for this sin lies deep within everyone in this country. Our current prosperity was built on a huge massacre from long ago, and most have forgotten it, so they feel in danger. It was a weak but fatal, curse-like feeling that engulfs this whole country, and those infected by this are too numerous. If materialized, it could create a catastrophe that could destroy this whole country. In the dream, that was abstractly represented by that monster, right? Well done. She smiled bewitchingly and applauded me. This wasn't the silent, bashful Rikako from before. This was an entrancing, shameless Uematsu, her mask as a prostitute. No, I didn't know which one was the mask at this point. Indeed, we are a grudge-soaked clan that let the Tsuchigumo of dreams inhabit this body. She'd been acting bashful while hiding this sentiment in her heart. Our desire is the death of all people of Yamato. With that as her sole goal, she'd praised the devotion and sacrifice of the people of Yasumizu and used them. You and the sheep who'd once reversed the fulfillment of this desire are both detestable and lovable. I don't know what you mean. Hate me? You'd already arrived there. Thus, if I stop your memories at that point and make it so you don't remember anything else, you will surely reach the same ending. I couldn't deny that. When that happens, oh, I actually love you so much I can't bear it. I have to thank you for giving me a chance to bear myself to you in such a way. My heart and mind are so happy now. The sudden switch in tone and the content of her words made me dizzy. To me, she was actually more enchanting, adorable, and beautiful than ever. You only love those who help you fulfill your desire. No, spiders are greedy. We love all that we can eat. I'm not being contradictory. I really do love you. I hate the people of Yamato, but even that is lovable at this point. If I get to burn and consume them all. Oh. She rubbed her abdomen. I would call them all to a dream of hellish joys. I would melt, love, and play with the 100 million accompanying me without end. So, I really do love everyone. The spider's archetype was the Great Mother. That was what this reminded me of. Especially you. She suddenly looked away like she was bashful. The situation was abnormal, but the gesture was one that could shake the core of any man. I don't understand. This is beyond me. You will understand eventually. You are aware, aren't you, of the conditions to bring back the Tsuchigumo of dreams? I don't. Your goal is the resurrection of that monster, but I have no idea why you have to repeat the feast for that. There's literally nothing linking the two. All I know is that the moment the monster awakened happened under very special circumstances. By that I mean that all the Fujiyoshi people who were in Yasumizu when the mists were out had died, except for you. Oh, you noticed that much? I knew it. If that was your goal, I could understand why you planned this complicated roundabout event. You Uematsu have no way of killing many people. Even if you killed one or two, you couldn't complete the job with your frail arms. There's also the fact that the Uematsu are shunned, so you can't survive the feast. Yes. That's why you use the time period in which they kill each other, and if you fail, you restart. Yes, I know that much. That was where the final secret lay. It pissed me off, but I had to ask her directly. But I don't understand. There's nothing in the legends linking the Tsuchigumo's revival with Yasumizu or Akami Fujiyoshi. There's no relation between the Okami and the Tsuchigumo either. All I can think of is that this is a massacre that utilized the feast. However, even so, I don't understand why the people of Fujiyoshi had to be sacrificed. I thought it might have had something to do with the amount of Yasumizu, Yomi people who died, but that didn't add up. That doesn't explain why Kiyunosuke and Osoto had been invited to the feast. Why him? His nature? Because of numbers? Or was he necessary as a person? At the very least, he'd been ordered to live here by his family. It was someone's intent, clearly, but whose? Yours? Then why did you need to sacrifice such a strange group? It's weird, mysterious, warped, unnerving, unsettling, unreasonable, incomprehensible, and so scary I can't bear it. It's the last mystery. Why do you have to kill them? Because I'd made love to each of them once. That voice, that smile, they were both those of a monster. The Uematsu are a warped people. The grudge of the clan is profound, but we had to use it and its warped practices to survive. That's what you know as our ability to take in. The Tsuchigumo of dreams living within the heads of the Uematsu is the manifestation of this grudge. To gather more grudge and make it swell, we reap and consume all the evil, sin, and filth. We trick the great spider of corruption, bleeding out and getting rid of the diseases we take to prevent the spider's resurrection. So that was why she was covered in blood after taking something in. Thus, the head woman of Uematsu continued to live on in this country as useful tools that healed everything. And that is how the family declined. You forgot your mission and desire and used the divine power in the completely opposite way? Yes, I did. But there was no way the great spider wouldn't notice such trickery. It secretly, slowly gathered disease, birthed its children, then let them escape. Then it would gather it again and repeat. The Tsuchigumo of dreams, the heads of the Uematsu family, used this to get around the bleeding and the clan's eye to gather corruption. And now, right as the family is about to die out, it finally gathered enough to come back. All that's left is retrieving it. So when you say you made love to them, I mean it literally, and I put my children in them. Oh man, what a disgusting truth. I heard that the Uematsu worked hard at purification when there was a cholera outbreak here in the settlement. But there was no way you could die, assuming your power is real. And you had to be very young back then. Indeed. Don't expect the heads of this village to care about something like that. Shit. I heard that Kaori was very sick when she birthed Yoshitsugu, that she almost died. I used my mouth to take in all the pain and corruption in her blood. Shit. So you also took in from Haru when she was going through the wolf possession? Yes, Mujina was very adorable. She benefited from what I was doing, so she silently allowed the spider's resurrection. If the law of the Amatsukami is broken, the mountain's darkness and the Yomi's darkness would rule again. Oh, how wonderful. Shit. The wolf guy is a huge scumbag. He might have done something by force. I don't want to remember that. Shikamochi Kamoshida. Of course. I took in from him when his family were worried about his eccentricity. He was cute, so he got along well in Kami Fujiyoshi, if you understand my meaning. That little... What about Yasunaga? He was a bit cute, so I slept with him when he was visiting Kami Fujiyoshi. You're the lowest. Don't worry. Thinks it was all a dream. Last one. Chiemi Serizawa, Chiemi Miguruma. You took in from her when she was bitten by the rabbit or rabbit? Rabbit? Dogs they kept, didn't you? Yes, indeed. Why did you hide that from her? Because that was the promise I made when I came under Shinai's rule. Shinai's corruption is divine punishment. We cannot allow you to take it in. So I couldn't, or I just didn't. You knew this, of course. Jamie doesn't remember it, though. She was so surprised she forgot it all, it seems. Of course, you knew about the necklace too. So that means that when you said something like you'd seen it for the first time, it was just an act. Yes, an act that saved you. So all the help you gave me and Chiemi had an ulterior motive? You felt that we were special. Yes, yes. I didn't know the reason, but I could clearly see that you had the power to change the flow of the loop. Before you came, I thought that I could reach the ending I wanted by making her an ally. As a result, she'd continuously given Chiyomi a good impression, making her less suspicious. If Chiyomi, someone who could keep her memories, found out that she was the bad guy, the conspiracy would become impossible to achieve. But she didn't get there. Yes, she wasn't good enough. That's why you were nice to me instead. As I already said, it's because I find you lovable. You released my children and sent them to me out of simple curiosity. You're a wise, gracious, sinister wolf with a warped heart. Come with me. Let us enjoy endless pleasure on the path to Yomi atop the great spider. Path to Yomi? The mountain is Yomi. The darkness is Yomi. Yomi is dreams. Dreams are the mountain. An endless dream and limitless pleasure. A happy, blissful hell. Let us enjoy it together atop the corpses of all of the people of this country. I want to be with you, for you are the most lovable. She said that with a serious tone. Apparently a devil had just confessed to me. Oh man. I was actually interested and honored, but don't say anything more, Rikako. Someone got in the way. Chiyomi. She broke her promise to God? She didn't think I was dead? Several questions came to mind. Why are you here? But that was the first one I could say. I'm the fourth here, sadly. What? Guys. A moment later, they entered. Haru, Mochi, and Rikako. Well, what a crowd. Mission 2 had an unexpected development. Also, it was all about not leaving Uematsu here. So you got off the boat and Haru followed for some reason, so I followed her, of course. I forgot some unfinished business. And that was when I was freed from the curse. You were doing something, so I, who knew everything, couldn't let myself enjoy the afterglow of killing God. So she really had realized my plan. But even so, she couldn't resist God. I left the rest to Yasu and Takumi and became the rearguard. That means that the leader of this invasion into the final encounter is you, Nosato. Honestly, I feel for you. Rikako, was everything you said true? The looping Chiyomi Serizawa told us about, our murder, and the monster. Is it all true? Yes, Nosato. My apologies for fooling you all this time. Rikako used her usual voice, but that just made it stand out more. She bowed her head. I was actually quite happy that you had feelings for me. It was simply too comical. Don't make that face. You are still more lovable than most. I do not mind making you the bed on which Haruaki and I eternally intertwine. I'm telling you to shut up. You'll shoot me. Shoot. That will complete the final loop. You are the most fitting person to complete the pleasant dream, the perfect hell. Hate me for taking your beloved and shoot me. I will take that as congratulations and create my dream. I see. So you killed God, but you can't do anything about a God that reaches completion when it dies. What are you gonna do, Haruaki? I will no longer support Tsuchigumo's plans, but she is still a mighty foe. Man, this was troublesome. I would have liked this to be finished in secret. Mission 2 became unexpectedly lively. Now, I'm sorry you all had to gather here to hear this, but I still had to say it. I'm thinking of going with her. Everyone lost their expressions. Only Rikako looked at me with an ecstatic expression. No way. Huh? Why? That joke's too far, even for you. I mean, I get him though. Richan's cute, and the goddamn demon lord. That's way too interesting. Rikako, please stop. Even if everything is true, there are no joys worth dying for. My, such considerate words befitting a doctor. Your life must have been painful and your clan must have experienced great hardship. But I don't see the reason to throw it all away and walk the path of chaos. You haven't heard me. I will rise again, complete, and create an eternal blissful hell for myself. That's not true happiness. I'm saying that I can make you happy for saving me back then. Oh, the boy from back then sure has grown. But it really is comical how you are so invested in your first woman. And how you still have feelings for her. Anyway, sorry. I'll take her. She jumped at me and embraced with the innocence of a child. I love, 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 love you. You'll finally fulfill the gamble from back then. Gamble? Gamble? What gamble, Haruaki? Oh, how pitiful. If you cut it out with the unpleasant secrets, the man called Haruaki Fuzaishi will trust Rikaku Uematsu. Haruaki Fuzaishi will believe Rikaku Uematsu. I will survive for Rikaku Uematsu's sake, while you will survive for Haruaki Fuzaishi's sake. I will survive for Rikaku Uematsu's sake, while she will survive for Haruaki Fuzaishi's sake. And if we both survive, you can ask Haruaki Fuzaishi for whatever you want, and I can do the same with Rikaku Uematsu. And if we both survive, she can ask anything from Haruaki Fuzaishi, and I can ask anything from Rikaku Uematsu. And we both survived, Haruaki. And we will continue to survive. I will not let you say that it was just a line to save the Rikaku Uematsu from back then. I remember those words clearly. I know. I will consider it a promise made before the Great Spider. Was it that big of a deal? Yes, of course. Break it and all that awaits you is destruction. Guess I have no choice then. Haruaki Fuzaishi will join the Tsuchigumo of Dreams and join fates with mine. That is my desire. Now ask what you want, Haruaki. I will grant you whatever wickedness, debauchery, or pleasure you desire. Oh, what a wonderful offer. That's just... Haruaki, you're too nice. Why do you try to save every girl by just saying whatever comes to mind? Guess it doesn't matter if it destroys your body and country, huh? I can't even complain. You saved me too. I can't say anything against Rikaku being saved. You idiot! You dumbass! Chia, calm down. Why are you so calm? You and he also. Well, it's a bit unfair since I can read his mind and know what shall happen now, but... He only told me of evil. I will do what I want without him, and I will just take whatever I want. But Chia, Haruaki is the type of man who teach an innocent country girl about evil. Do you seriously believe that a warped scumbag like him would make such a promise? Huh? Rikako hesitantly loosened her grip. Then she took a step back. Her eyebrows were furrowed in suspicion. Oh, how pitiful. I'm Haruaki Fuzaishi, a graduate student in a Tokyo college. Who's Haruaki Fuzaishi? I really didn't expect to be called doing marriage fraud. Oh my god. Huh? What? Huh? A guy like that doesn't exist. Though I can't be sure. Maybe you'll find one if you look hard enough. Haruaki Fuzaishi will join the Tsuchigumo of Dreams and join fates with mine. Poor guy. I made this Haruaki something share his fate with someone. She can ask anything from Haruaki Fuzaishi, and I can ask anything from Rikako Uematsu. It's clever phrasing. Well, that doesn't matter right now. I guess it's my turn to ask you what I want from you. Oh, man. Oh. What? What? She suddenly took out a dagger from her sleeve. You really are the best, the worst nameless soldier. I will take this gamble to the next time, if you remember it anyway. The dagger went to her throat. Crap, I had to make it in time. I had to tell her to stop this conspiracy. At that moment, all light vanished. In the midst of that, ah! was a scream. It was a scream so scary it seemed inhuman. What? What? I can't see anything. Hey, Mochi, why are you touching? What are you doing? Where are the lights? This was unexpected. What happened? But going at someone with a knife in the dark was just... While I, all talk that I was, couldn't even force myself to act. I heard something heavy drop on the floor. Then something metallic. The next moment, the lights came back. Before me, I saw Rikako Uematsu lying on the floor. She wasn't moving at all. Was she dead? No, the dagger was clean and still in her hands. Hold her down. Chiemi moved first, then Kyunosuke. One took the knife, the other held her hands behind her back. She was unconscious. What happened? Rikako, are you okay? You don't change, do you? It'll be bad if she wakes up now. Haruaki, what do we do? Let's tie her up and leave her. There was rope deeper in. That's mean. You're heartless, old man. I'm not old. Call me Hassan, and why are you all freaked out? I don't know about the way you said it, but I agree that we should tie her up. We went and did just that. I am... She woke up. Oh, she woke up. What if she bites her tongue or something? Let's gag her. Please don't be cruel to her. Hey, if we don't prevent her committing suicide, it's going to be bad for all of us. Don't you think that she might have been pushed to this point because of this? Because people treat her like an object or a disaster? Wow, Uncle's actually said something good for once. Rikako, can you give me some time? I will admit I have fallen for you. Hard, I may add. But ever since I saw your dry eyes on that day, I've been haunted by an urge to make them wet. But even so, I can't give up on you at this point. Please let me try and make you happy. He was really straightforward, but that didn't really matter to her. The spider, the Tsuchigumo of dreams, is gone. She said something we didn't understand. Huh? Where are you, Tsuchigumo? My everything. The god who taught me of love. I had no idea why, but I could tell. She no longer had any divine powers or scary conspiracies left. All that the Uematsu family, Rikako Uematsu, ever had vanished all at once. But even so, I ask that you, Rikako Uematsu, abandon the Tsuchigumo's revival and live out a normal, happy life as an ordinary woman, a person. I gave her those cruel words. She began crying. I did feel bad. I'd considered taking responsibility for her and taking her with me, but the one to embrace her and console her as she cried was Kiyonosuke Nosato, not me. If he chose to take that role, I had no business stopping him. I would just let him have it. Everything is solved now, it seems. Is that good enough? I'll believe you if you say it is God. A contract made for a god you would accept takes more than a lifetime to break. Well, Tsuchigumo's seeds of corruption, children, are still within us. But now that I have my powers back, I shall have no problem removing and consuming them. Build me a shrine as quick as possible, Mochi. Okay. Hey, everyone. I'm Haruaki Fuzashi. Look at that. The swindler. Ouch. I'll still call you Haruaki out of convenience. Good. But as a woman, I gotta say that's a huge no. I feel a bit bad for her. You can't tell me you didn't think you felt she deserved it. I did. Such honesty. Well, anyway. Sorry, Rikako. Goodbye. Haruaki, you dummy. Mission 2. Dealing with the Master of the Loop who wanted the monster's resurrection had been completed. Nothing more needed to be said, even if it gave me things to think about. I still don't know what to say to you. Don't worry, me neither. Even so, I believe you might have saved her, as well as the rest of us. Seriously, don't worry about it. I probably had better ways to do this. Well, probably. I hope I can talk to you again sometime. I don't want to see his face. Rikako. Dummy. Haruaki, you dummy. Unfortunately, I find her lovable, even when she's like this. Same, actually, but I wouldn't admit it out loud. I shall protect her. I have no right to stop you. Patiently and thoroughly convince her to change her mind. Talk it out with her. Of course, I shall not do anything one-sided, though I will help her survive. Good. I won't let Nosato convince me. I'll bite him to pieces. Rikako had become a completely different character. I suppose we can withdraw now. Wait a bit, there's one last thing I have to clean up. We have to walk a bit for that though. Alright, Nosato, Mochi and Haru, you stay here. I think it'll be alright, but look after Rikako. I'll make you vomit. If that's the most you can do, then you're not much of a threat. I do not have to come with you. No. I'll tell them everything myself. Very well. Oh, Tsuchigumo, you certainly had your way with me back then. Should I get back at you for that? Ooh. What are you doing? Don't touch her like that. Stop them, Mochi. Huh? But it's fun. It's your job to look after Haru and God. Boo. Alright. Anyway, time for the final job. We'll chase back the people coming from the mountain. Help me out with that, Chiemi. Mission 3. Dealing with the Miguruma, the leaders of the feast. Now, would it go peacefully or violently? Alright, you swindler. Harsh.